What is up, guys? Back with more locals footage. This week I've only got one round of footage, but with a very good reason. My round one opponent was a miner, and I'm not pointing a camera anywhere near them. They were on Crystal Beasts, but it was like 2.5 structure decks, so I decided the camera was just not going to come out for that matchup. I don't think it's a good idea. But anyway, so that round went quite quickly. He was only playing like 2.5 structure decks. That round went pretty quickly. But this round is round 2. So I'm against Mitsurugi, what's the name? Megalith, that's it. So Mitsurugi Megalith, so he starts, and I've Fu'd and belled him so far. So I Fu'd on the Habakiri, and then I belled the it's affecting Graveyard. No, it would have been something that summons from grave. Unfortunately, the grave was out of camera shot. I didn't set up the camera correctly. Seems to always be the way. And I drew into another Fua, so he's now under double Fua. So that's admittedly a very frustrating situation to be in, especially in a deck that is trying to do some kind of long combo, especially like this. So I get 2 draws off of the summon from deck, and I think that's Megalith Unformed. I'm not very familiar with a huge amount of the Megaliths. I haven't had to play against the deck in 5 years, and the deck has changed quite drastically since then. Given that since then Block Dragon has been banned and unbanned, and there was also a period where it was summoning like Magician of Chaos Max on you to like basically do the same thing as like a Calamity Lock would be. So yeah, so he's just debating on his plays now. So yeah, he summons Ophiel at one point, and I have a Ghost Ogre in hand, so because Ophiel has to use itself as the ritual, I Ghost Ogre it, so that stops the effect resolves without effect, basically. So yeah, he obviously lets that go through. So at this point, I've pulled almost every hand trap at him possible, thanks to the double Fuas. But my hand size is also not increasing a huge amount, so I'm not going to have to shuffle anything back during the end phase. So he passes on those 2, and it's my turn. So I'm just rereading the Mitsuru. I forget the name, but the one that discards and board wipes. Not a huge fan of Mitsurugi personally, but I love the Megalith stuff. But yeah, so I start with Emergency, so that's going to go through after I discard the Hertz. The Hertz is just going to grab back the Cyber Dragon that I discarded the previous turn for the card. So I Special Sidra, I summon Dizzablaster from my hand to make a quick, so I can put pressure basically and force the board wipe out early. I was wondering if maybe he would or wouldn't do that. But I take a moment after this because he's going to summon it back and board wipe me, and I'm debating on whether I summon Rampage from deck or not. I do Ghost Ogre it, but I forgot that all the Mitsurugi main deck monsters are like card destruction protection. So that's a waste, kind of a wasted effort. But anyway, so now I'm debating, because I've drawn Power Bond in my opening hand. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? So I choose to summon the Rampage from like off of the Nova, and I choose to work. So I'm working towards the OTK basically. I do make a mistake though, because I eventually go through all of my names, having thinned out the Nakshta, as you saw in the previous profile. So that I'm playing the exact list that I showed off in that profile, and So I'm running a lower count of Cyber Dragon names. Given that the Hertz is in graveyard, there's at least one core is out of the deck. The Cyber Dragon is also in the graveyard. There's only 2 cores left, and I send both of them. So now I can't actually activate Worm because not a single Cyber Dragon is left in deck or hand. So this is a bit of a misplay because, in a way, because I cannot guarantee game through Nib anymore. Because so here's where I make the realization that I have no names left in deck. So I just try to power through it, and it does succeed. Chimera Tech is at 2600, and the Clockwork Knight is at 1000. So that is the game. That game was definitely won by Fuwalos though, the double Fuwa. So game 2, he goes first, and I ash the Habakiri. But he goes straight for Unform, which is pretty crazy card. Just Ritual Summon straight from deck. And so he summons the Ophiel. I think I had a Ghost Ogre in here, but I choose... So, yeah. I don't know, I can't remember what I was waving my hands about there for. Might have been something other people were saying around me, but anyway. So yeah, the Ophiel is summoned. He gets the Fool and I think it was a Mitsurugi from deck. So he summons the... I forget what the names are of these ones, but the orange one to grab the prayers. And pretty soon he's gonna attempt to Ophiel. I think, yeah, I have the Ghost Ogre here, so the Ghost Ogre will get rid of it again, so it won't be able to resolve properly. So at this point, I know he has the Habakiri from the hand is in the graveyard now, and the Fool is in the hand. So he's going to activate prayers to grab something from the deck. So he gets so he's tributing the Night Soul Serpent and one of the other Mitsurugis from the deck to summon the Habakiri from hand, or from the hand or grave. So I'm just reading Night Soul Serpent because I was curious, because it's been a moment since I'd seen it. So here's where the bridge between Mitsurugi and Megalith comes in, because they're all rocks. The Megaliths are all rocks, so Gallant Granite hits the field to search him for a new, for another Megalith monster. They've gotten they got some support in Doom of Dimensions. They got Notra Plura, which he's just searched. So this card's really good because it's basically Miscellaneousaurus for the archetype in a way. Yeah, you can reveal it in hand, and your opponent cannot respond to the activation of your Megalith ritual monster effects. So yeah, the Fool is summoned, and the Fool just lets you ritual summon. I'm pointing at it here because I'm talking about how much I love the card, how good it is. So he's just debating on what the play is, and I'm just reading Fool again. Yeah, so yeah, he's gonna grab the Habakiri and summon the board wipe one. So he's just deliberating on his next plays now. So he grabs the prayers from the deck, and that is, I think that's Haggith. So he's going to activate one of the other new Megalith cards, Anastasis. I think that's new. This card's pretty good. It's basically a discard double search for Megaliths. And yeah, when you ritual summon Megaliths, you can either draw 2 or discard or tribute a monster your opponent controls. So obviously, like him going first, the second part of that isn't going to come up, but he can the draw 2 discard 1 is pretty relevant. But anyway, so he's activating the effect to search, and then he's going to draw 2. So that's, yeah, so pre-prep comes down, so he's going to just grab the... I'm so bad with all these Mitsurugi names, but that's the one that summons back... When your opponent activates an effect, you can summon a Mitsurugi from grave, and he grabs one of the other ritual spells. So next, he's going to activate that ritual spell and summon the Mitsurugi he just searched. And then he's going to immediately attribute it off to summon back the orange one. I'm just color coding these now. He's also going to grab a Habakiri and another Prayers. I think that's Prayers. So this is now a pretty threatening board. And I believe he's going to make an IP with the orange Mitsurugi and the Gallant Granite. Yeah, there comes the SP, and the IP, should I say. And I think this is all he has. Oh, he sets 2. One of them is the Mitsurugi Prayers. So I have 3 cards in hand at the end of this because I've hand trapped him 3 times. So I'm just reading and making sure I confirm what everything on his board is going to be doing. My hand isn't that great. One of the cards I drew is Power Bond, so that's great. 2 games in a row, drew Power Bond. One of in a 45 card deck. And the rest of the hand isn't too great either. I summoned both Jokul that I drew just to see, just to kind of test the waters, but he chooses the board wipe here so I don't get the search. I don't know if this was correct. Maybe I should have summoned one. Maybe I should have just normal summoned one of them instead. He has enough cards in the hand. But yeah, so that prompts the Prayers. I go for Thrust, and he forces me to discard the last card in my hand. It's Power Bond, so it doesn't matter. I grab Emergency, but he has an Ash for it. So yeah, I pack it up immediately and we're going to game 3. Alright, so game 3, I opt to make him start. So the Prayers comes down in the draw phase to grab the Habakiri from deck. So we go to the main, because he's fearful of draw, so we go straight to the main phase. He normal summons first to grab from deck. So that's one of the rituals, one of the ritual spells, and then he's about to activate Habakiri, and I drop Foolos on him again, and there's no Ash Blossom for it. By making him go first, he thought I might go second, so he slided into Board Breakers. So, unlikely that he has any interaction, like hand trap interaction. So, the Fuwa goes uncontested, and he continues on. Worth noting also, we are gradually getting closer to time, because obviously the footage here is sped up for the sake of not leaving too many blank spots in commentary while like deliberation happens. But we're getting closer to time, so he's building his board and I'm drawing cards. But yeah, so he's got the one that summons cards, summons Mitsurugi's back, and he's got the discard and board wipe one. He's grabbing one of the other ritual spells. So he's going to be going through all of that. So I'm just making sure I read the cards and understand and remember what they do, because I feel like every time I've read a Mitsurugi card, I have to read it again, like the next time I come up against it. Right, so he's done with the searching for now, so he goes for Prosp, and my god, does he does he grab a treasure trove of cards off the top of his deck here. So eventually, so he's deliberating a little bit on what he grabs. He could grab the Droll for my turn, or he could grab the Talents to rip a card out of my hand, or he could grab an Ash. But the Fool has already come down, so the Ash would be for my turn as well. Ultimately, he chooses to take the Talent here. And the problem now is I have both Izuna and Nibiru in my opening hand. I probably should have Nibiru'd the moment he got the talents, because now that that's happened, I can, yeah, or I should have Nibiru'd here, because he's doing talents, and I can't drop the Izuna and the Nibiru. I could have done Izuna Chainlink 1, Nibiru Chainlink 2, but the problem is the Mitsurugi would, the board wipe Mitsurugi would come back and wipe the board, so I wouldn't be able to make any kind of interruption anyway. So I let this go through. I should have Nibiru'd the moment the SP came down, and I'm getting punished for that. So yes, the Izuna's come down. He's obviously going to be able to get Mitsurugi's back because I'm activating effects, but I'm going to continue on. He's going to force me to discard, so I discard the Hurt and grab a Cyber Dragon from deck. Thankfully, drawing, even though it's a one-of, drawing the Hurts into this isn't too bad. So he's just grabbing more cards back. And I'm trying to remember if I immediately fire the Nash Knight or not. So I think I'm holding it until he takes more actions. I probably should have fired it off here, because I know that he's going to make Photon Lord. Yeah, so immediately the Nash Knight has something to contest it, which is unfortunate. I don't know what my thought process was in this moment. I think we were so close to time that we were kind of just trying to get through the game. But it might also have been a mixture of just mental fatigue. Who knows? So he links these two off into an SP. So his board is quite... And then he passes for turn. So the Nash Knight is going to get negated here during the end phase. Like, I attempt to use it on the end phase. If only I'd waited, because I could have then sent it off of the... used it as fodder to negate everything on the board with the droplet, but I choose to negate the IP, the SP, and the Mitsurugi so that he can't summon from stuff from grave. But he does have a prayers set, so he is going to be able to summon back the board wipe. But anyway, I immediately activate the Clockwork Knight that I've dropped, that I drew, and I try to summon Regulus, because if the Regulus summon goes off, then with the Cyber Dragon equipped, I can use the equipped Cyber Dragon and contact fuse the board, but he summons back the board wipe, and I obviously have to address it, otherwise I'll lose the whole board. So here we're just remembering what was negated and what wasn't. I don't know why he didn't fire off the Photon Lord here, but so the Noroi comes down, grabs Jokel from deck, and Jokel searches for Lantern. So I immediately overlay these for a Canine Ripper, and I get the search. There is a mistake here. For some reason I thought he had activated the card effect Engrave, so I set the Force Release. We catch this later on, it'll get shuffled back, but it doesn't really matter too much for now because it would be offline anyway. But yeah, always remember to check whether your opponent has actually activated something in hand or grave. But with so many effects flying around, that's why that mistake happened. But it gets caught. So the Lantern is dropped here, summoning itself and the Norway. So we just remember, he's just trying to remember if he's activated Photon Lord this turn, or whether it was last turn. But yeah, so everything is negated, apart from the Photon Lord. Everything is gaining and losing attack. So all my cards are gaining 500 attack and defense, all of his are losing 500 attack and defense. I think I'm making the wrong decision by switching everything to attack mode and going to battle phase here. I probably should have thought what I was taking off the board quicker, or in a better way, probably approached it better, because the vital card, the IP and the SP are taken off the board, but all the other vital stuff is still there, and I have no way of getting it off. I attempt to go for Quinquery to get Cyber Dragon back to contact fuse the board, but he does negate it here. So now it's his turn, and we're about to run out of time, I believe, on this turn. So now is where the problem, my mistake, is pointed out. And yeah, now is time is about to be called. So we're about to get a double match loss. This tournament was interesting. Unfortunately, after this one, I get the bye. But yeah, so we can't conclude the game. It was a very good game regardless, but we can't conclude the game, so we get a double match loss. And what was funny was that there were no XOs after round 3. So because of that, so yeah, I ended up getting 3rd place. I got the bye in round 3 because 2 players dropped after round 1, which is what screwed up the pairings a little bit. Konami tournament software is unreliable on a good day, let alone on a day where 2 players drop and lowering the player count below a certain amount. But anyway, so I got 3rd place, but I didn't really get a good enough grasp on whether the deck was performing well, just because round 1 was kind of a free win because my opponent was playing 2.5 structure deck Crystal Beast, and round 3 I didn't even have an opponent because I was on the bye. So realistically, I think I might take this exact list to another locals first before I start making changes. Obviously, there are a couple things that I could maybe do. I think Double Clockwork Knight is not coming up. I maintain what I said in the video, in my profile, about how I feel about Double Clockwork Knight. I think I said it there at least. But if you're not resolving the first Clockwork Knight, there's no way in hell you're resolving the second, so I'm probably going to cut it. I think maybe a second Ripper, maybe. I'll have to see how I feel about that extra spot. If I could get a second slot freed up, then maybe something like Chaos Nash Knight, and I could would be viable, and I could exchange the 101 for a 104 and a C104. But I would need 2 slots for that, and currently I don't have that flexibility. So yeah, I'm not sure where to go from here just because of the kind of lack of test data, but the deck performed pretty well in the games that I played, so no complaints there. So yeah, that's about it for today. Sorry for the short video. Unfortunately, I can't control how matchups go, but I'll be back next week with another video, and hopefully I'll be able to play all 3 rounds and actually show all 3 rounds. So until then, let me know how your guys' testing is going for the new format. Let me know what you think of the new format. I know there's definitely a lot of discontent with the format right now, but just because of the amount of floodgates that are permeating the format. I mean, you can even see I'm playing some floodgates in my deck just because they are auto wins into certain matchups. So yeah, Anyway, so take care of yourselves, and I shall see you guys in the next video.